Today, we're looking at some really cool research where scientists are taking ordinary seaweed and turning it into, well, a potential lifesaver. And believe me, this isn't your average bandage. This is a seriously high-tech sponge, and it's designed to solve one of the biggest challenges in medicine: how to stop severe bleeding fast.
I mean, just think about that for a second. What if a wound dressing wasn't just a passive cover? What if it could be an active player in the healing process? Something that stops a major bleed cold, actively kills off dangerous bacteria, and then, once its job is done, it just safely dissolves away. That's kind of the dream, right? Well, that's exactly what this new material is trying to achieve.
And the need for this is no joke. The stakes are incredibly high. Whether it's a car accident or an injury on the battlefield, uncontrolled bleeding is one of the main reasons people die from trauma before they even get to a hospital. So getting that bleeding to stop, and I mean really fast, is absolutely crucial. It's pretty clear we need better tools in the toolkit.
So where do you even start to look for a solution to a problem this big? Well, as it turns out, the answer comes from two very different and, you might say, unlikely places: the ocean floor and the nanolab. First up, we've got Carrageenan. Now, you might have actually seen this name before on a food label. It's a totally natural substance that comes from red seaweed. But in this case, instead of thickening your ice cream, it's being used as the perfect, natural, biodegradable scaffolding. You know, the structural backbone to build this entire sponge on.
And this is the high-tech secret ingredient, Cerium Oxide Nanoparticles. We're talking about particles that are incredibly tiny, engineered to have some pretty amazing powers. They're fantastic at killing bacteria, and as it turns out, they also give blood clotting a serious boost.
Okay, so how do you actually take a seaweed extract and these powerful nanoparticles and turn them into a medical sponge? Well, it's not as simple as just mixing them together. There's a very precise scientific protocol involved. So let's walk through how this incredible material is actually made. So this diagram lays out the entire process. It might look a little complex, but it's really a journey from liquid to lifesaver. You see on the left, it all starts with simple liquids: the Carrageenan solution and the nanoparticle solution. From there, it goes through these carefully controlled steps, including mixing and a process called cross-linking, which basically binds everything together. Then it's frozen and freeze-dried, a process that pulls all the water out, leaving behind that final, amazing porous sponge you see on the right, all ready to be tested. So let's break that down a bit. First, you dissolve the Carrageenan powder in water to make a solution. Easy enough. In a separate container, you get the nanoparticle solution ready. Then comes the really key part. You infuse the Carrageenan with those nanoparticles, and you add another agent that chemically links everything together. And finally, you have this two-stage freeze and freeze-dry process that removes all the water and leaves you with that super lightweight, porous sponge. Okay, but what does this thing actually look like on the inside? I mean, up close. Because the way it's built, its internal architecture is absolutely essential to how it works. Now, check this out. This is where it gets really, really cool. On the left, that's the inside of the plain seaweed sponge. See how it has these big, open pores? But look what happens on the right when you add the nanoparticles. Whoa, the entire internal structure changes. It becomes so much more compact, and the pores themselves get way, way smaller. And we can actually put numbers on that change. The average pore size in that plain sponge is about 136 micrometers. But once you add the nanoparticles, it drops by more than half, all the way down to just 60 micrometers. That is a massive structural difference. So who cares about smaller pores, right? Why does that matter? Well, think about it. This tighter, more compact network is just plain tougher. It means it's going to break down or degrade much more slowly once it's inside the body. And that means the dressing can stay put and keep doing its job, stopping the bleeding, fighting infection for a whole lot longer. All right, so we've got the material, we know what it's made of, and we've seen its internal structure. But here's the real question. Does it actually work? The researchers put this sponge through a whole gauntlet of crucial tests to find out. First things first, the number one job: can it stop bleeding? And more importantly, how does it stack up against what we use right now, something like standard cotton gauze? And wow, the results here are pretty dramatic. On this graph, you want to be low. A lower line means faster, better clotting. See that orange line way up at the top? That's your standard gauze. Now look down. See those blue lines for the seaweed sponges? Especially that dark blue one, the sponge with the nanoparticles. It's hugging the bottom of the chart. That's not just better, that's a whole different league of performance. Okay, next test, infection. A serious wound is basically an open door for nasty bacteria. So can this sponge actually fight back and protect the wound?
And the results here couldn't be clearer. On the left, the plain seaweed sponge on its own, it did absolutely nothing to the bacteria. But the sponge with those cerium oxide nanoparticles, it slammed the brakes on the growth of two of the most common bad guys in wound infections, E. coli and staph. This shows those nanoparticles are doing some serious heavy lifting.
All right, and finally, this is the big one, the safety check. It's great if it stops bleeding and kills germs, but not if it's toxic to our own healthy cells, right? So is this stuff biocompatible? And the safety data is fantastic. When healthy cells were put in contact with the sponge material, they didn't just survive, they thrived. We're seeing over 90% viability. That's a huge green light, telling us that this sponge is non-toxic and safe to use directly in a wound. It passed that final critical test with flying colors. So it's made from cool ingredients, it's got a unique structure, and it aced all of its performance tests. So what does all this add up to? What could the future look like with this technology? Let's just quickly recap the highlights here. We've got a material that stops bleeding way better than gauze. It actively fights off bacteria. It's totally safe for our own cells. It's biodegradable, so it just dissolves away. And it's tough enough to last longer. I mean, it literally checks every single box for an ideal advanced wound dressing. And you don't have to just take my word for it. The researchers themselves wrap it up perfectly. They state that this material has, and I quote, the potential to be used as a hemostatic agent and wound dressing. That's a confident conclusion. Which really just leaves us with one final, very exciting question. We started this journey with simple seaweed and some tiny nanoparticles. Could this amazing combination, this blend of nature and cutting-edge science, one day become a standard piece of equipment you'd find in every ambulance, every medic's bag, maybe even every family's first aid kit at home? Based on this research, that future feels very, very possible.